So, big fight announcement after UFC 310 as Dana White announced the UFC 312 main event, and it is the fight that everybody's been wanting. It is the rematch that everybody's been crying for. That is Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland 2. Why is this being made? Now, look, I understand their first fight was enjoyable. I am an enjoyer of that matchup. It was close, yes, right? But Khamzat Chimaev has literally just broken Robert Whittaker's face. What has Sean Strickland done? He went to a split decision with Paulo Costa. Someone else who Robert Whittaker beat before him. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's not as if Sean Strickland was like, okay, I'll fight someone else if needs be. The guy chose to sit out and huff and bitch online until he got this opportunity. What the fuck is this? Now, I know that the UFC did promise whoever won. We're going to talk about 312 in general as of now. Now, obviously, Dana White did say after UFC 305 or in the build-up between DDP and Adesanya that whoever won that matchup was going to fight Sean Strickland. Everybody kind of knew that was the option and the route the UFC was going to go. At the time, it made sense. But now we've just seen Khamzat Chimaev break the face of Robert Whittaker. It's like, what are we doing here? We know that Khamzat is the guy that DDP should be fighting. Everybody knows that. Everybody wants that. But instead we're getting Sean Strickland. Mr. Jab and Tape. Mr. I go to war for you guys, but then Jab and Tape. Now, in fairness, he did go to war with DDP first time round. This is an enjoyable matchup. Like I said earlier, I am an enjoyer of their first fight. However, we barely get to see Khamzat. The guy's barely fit to fight. At the minute, he seems fit to fight. He's the clear number one contender, in my opinion, after doing that to Robert Whittaker. I'd rather just see something new. I mean, it kind of goes like this in certain divisions where it's just constant fucking rematches. Like, Khamzat isn't complete new blood. He's just beaten a top 3 middleweight of all time by breaking his face, and I will continue to say that. Broke his face, because that's what he did. But we're getting this rematch that nobody really wants. Like, I'm not seeing many people online be like, oh, I'm so glad they picked Strickland over Khamzat. It's actually the opposite. I'm seeing more people be like, why didn't we get the Khamzat fight? Because Khamzat Chimaev versus DDP is just cinema. I actually believe that DDP could beat Khamzat Chimaev. Now, there are a bit of questions that need to be answered. Number one, can DDP survive the first round with Khamzat? Because he is without a doubt the best first round fighter in UFC history. Do not care what anybody says. There is no one that is just as good as Khamzat in the very first round. Like, the guy doesn't even set up takedowns. He just he doesn't even disguise him. Like, what he done to Whittaker at 3-way, he didn't even disguise. He just fucking dove at his legs from halfway across the cage and ragdolled him. You know what I mean? My throat's still sore, so bear with me. Like, it just isn't what I wanted, to be brutally honest with you. I expected more. I thought DDP Khamzat was the way forward. But back to the DDP Khamzat matchup, sorry. I feel like DDP can beat him. I feel like he has the best chance of beating Khamzat Chimaev, to be honest. But we've seen DDP be taken down and struggle in the grappling against someone like Derek Brunson, who, don't get me wrong, is a very good grappler in his own right, but he isn't Khamzat Chimaev. But then I feel like DDP can match Khamzat in the strength, which I feel like would help him in the takedowns and the scrambles, plus on how fucking weird his strike style is. But again, it doesn't really matter because it's not as if Khamzat likes you to be in the orthodox stance for him to shoot or be southpaw. The guy just shoots. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't try and time it and set you up well. He just goes for it. So that there might not come into a big factor, but I do feel like the strength will. And I feel like DDP will be able to make it out of the first round just out of being goofy. Just out of being a chill, weird guy. I just feel like that's going to happen. And then I feel like from rounds 2 onwards, even though DDP looks like he's fighting underwater at that point, it seems to be that he's not, because his opponents just cannot keep up with him. Even though it looks like he's fighting in slow motion, underwater, he looks slow as fuck, he still lands constantly. I feel like DDP would finish Khamzat Chimaev. You heard it here first. That's my early prediction. DDP would finish Khamzat Chimaev. On to this matchup though. DDP versus Sean Strickland 2. The first fight was close. I had DDP winning it. I think this time DDP... Like, Sean Strickland doesn't change up his style. He's always the same jab and tape. Where DDP does have different game plans for different opponents. I think DDP is going to offer up a lot more in this matchup. And I think he is going to stop Sean Strickland in between. I originally thought that in between 2 rounds, but now I'm saying in between 3 rounds. I think DDP will TKO Sean Strickland inside 3 rounds. Let's look at the rest of the card. Zhang Wei Li versus Tatiana Suarez. Look, I like this matchup. The champion versus the clear number 1 contender. However, why was this not UFC Fight Night China? Now, don't get me wrong. Davison Figueiredo, Petr Yan, loved it. Loved that matchup. But like, your biggest Chinese star, you go to China and she's not there. It's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get the logic in that. I really don't get that. Now, this is kind of throwing me off this card because it's like, when do we start getting the big name Australian fighters? Because DDP's South African, Strickland's American, Zhang Wei Li's Chinese, Tatiana Suarez is American. That's the co-main and main event. Doesn't have anybody from this region of the world on it. As you go down the card, you can see you've got some Australians on there. Jimmy Crute, whoa. Is he making a return, or like, am I just stupid? Because I feel like I haven't seen him in ages. Yeah, so there isn't really much on this card at the minute outside of the co-main and main. I'm obviously expecting a big feature fight, to be honest. I don't think this card will be great outside of the last 3 fights, to be honest. If JDM isn't on this card against Kamaru Usman, yeah, that's just what I'm going to say. If he isn't the feature fight of this card, if JDM isn't on this card, yeah, because why would he not be on this card? We haven't seen JDM in ages. Obviously, he broke his arm, but it seems like he is fit and ready to go again. The rumour has been Kamaru Usman for quite some time. If he's not fighting Kamaru Usman and he's not on this card, you need to tell me as of 5 minutes of me posting this video, so then I know that he's fighting Leon Edwards at UFC Fight Night London. I actually wouldn't mind that if they done UFC Fight Night Seattle, Sean Brady versus Kamaru Usman in the main event, because I think Usman would beat Sean Brady and that gets his awful, terrible fight style out of the title picture. And then JDM versus Leon Edwards at Fight Night London, because I might actually go to that event if I can get tickets, I don't know. But then this card would suffer, because Volk isn't going to be on this. He's fighting Taporia, well, supposedly. So yeah, UFC 312. Main event isn't what we wanted. Decent co-main event. We need a lot more on this card, yeah? We need a lot more Dana White, yeah? Get it fucking sorted. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.